So, Sean, can we finish on something which will sound a bit more light-hearted, nonetheless important for the US, potentially, and certainly the world? It's to do with artificial intelligence, which, I'm in the AI business. I'm but a minnow. But Trump's been busy the last 48 hours. And one of the things he's done, he's brought a whole load of very rich people together to attract investment into the new United States of America. So he's had Larry Ellison from Oracle. He's had the guy's name I always forget, the chief executive of SoftBank, who's made this huge offer of money and jobs for the US, which Trump then immediately asked him to double it. And also the CEO of OpenAI. And I always get his name wrong. It's either Sam Altman or Sam Waltman. Anyway, 3 massive hitters. What he wants to do is to build the largest AI project. Now, given the status of AI at the moment, most of which actually comes from the US, then I think that's a fairly formidable but achievable target. Why is this important to us? Well, we've covered this before. I'm absolutely certain there will be hundreds of applications of artificial intelligence in the military, whether it's manually doing something that a person would have done, or creating all sorts of disguised tactics and strategies in a way and at a speed in real time that a human could not do. And you'll have loads of other things in your pocket. But I think we're going to, from a defence point of view, I think we're entering a new world as far as artificial intelligence is concerned.
How do you think we're going to govern it, though? Because it feels like a bit like, the Facebook X generation. It threw up a whole load of other problems. And there are some countries in the world that wouldn't care less. How you use AI in nefarious ways, how you put out fake news, I don't know how you protect that technology. It will be developed, and it does sound like there's a huge investment in the West to do that. But I've no doubt at all that China is also investing huge amounts of money in this. And how do you make sure? It feels like Mission Impossible. The destiny of our planet may well be held in a little computer chip that actually has the answers. Whether it's artificial intelligence or self-aware intelligence, and that suddenly will become incredible. How do we protect that? What are the mechanisms we do that?
It's actually quite a dangerous question because at one level, you have to say the genie's out of the bottle and you can't protect it. So I can show you a film of Donald Trump. Looks like Donald Trump, sounds like Donald Trump, the lips move like Donald Trump. He says things completely outrageous. It's just not Donald Trump. And artificial intelligence has managed to create that sort of false image. I'm afraid we're stuck with that. I don't think there's any amount of legislation, because you're going to have to put some other authority in place to look at all these things, maybe with their own AI tool, and tell us which one is right. I don't actually want somebody doing that. So I think, unfortunately, it's down to individuals, groups of individuals, institutions, to do their own due diligence on what comes out. That's on the one hand. I think the days are gone when you can introduce realistic and fair controls. The other end, I think, is also dangerous because what the big players are doing, they're saying we need 100 different rules of entry into this game. That's the only way of controlling it in the way that you're implying. Well, guess what happens when you do that? You basically shut off the entry for all the smaller players because you make it, through regulation, you make it too difficult. So, I've been in the tech industry for, over 40 years. This is the one that has shocked me. And I've been through so many revolutions of technology, which all sounded, huge at the time. This one is by far the biggest, and I honestly don't think we can possibly predict where this is going to go. We certainly can't control it in the way that your question implied.
Yeah, no. When I say control, I mean that's one interpretation. Another is how do we find the truth in there? Or not necessarily the truth, but how do we become reassured? For example, in your example, how do we guarantee that it was Trump? And I wonder whether it's things like at the moment, if I buy something online, there's sort of two-factor authentication, isn't there? There's a process of to and froing before the person buying, the person selling. There is a little bit of a reassurance of governance that creeps in there. I wonder whether we will end up having some form of governance process so that what you see is only the front of house, that whether it's a QR code, whether I don't know, but some way of authenticating what you're looking at, because up till now it's just been I can see you on the television, I know it's you, we've known each other for a long time, but I don't think that's going to be enough in the future, and therefore what is the way of authenticating what you're seeing to add credibility to it? It may be that there are other mechanisms to do that.
Well, I think there's two problems. You're turning into a bit of a techie now, Sean. I think
there's
two problems.
You caused me being a politician the other day. Now I'm a techie.
Yeah. God, many jobs. The problem is, if to have authentication, you've got to have an authenticator. That means somebody controls the authentication process. That's the problem. The second is, do you know what? No matter what system you put in place to check or audit what's been done, those who want to get around that, the very next day will have something that basically makes redundant the system that you've just created. The other thing that worries me is if you've got AI in a military sense doing something for you, then your opponent has also got AI, and that AI is actually anticipating, based on the first few steps of action you've taken, that AI has now worked out, like a game of chess, what move 96 is. And he's already reconfigured his system to cope with where you're going. Yeah, it's tricky.
No, it's incredibly tricky. I think we could run a whole series on this. I think it has huge implications. Not only at the moment, it's clearly more processing data faster. So there's lots of things at the moment that the human brain it struggles with, whether it's reviewing cancer treatments or whatever, the actual X-rays or whatever. There are something that actually can go forensically in detail and check every pixel. The human brain doesn't have the time to do that, whereas processing power, so processing quicker. But I think there are several categories of AI. One of them becomes self-aware, and I think chatting to a few of the experts, they sort of agree with your premise that nobody knows where this is going. And as soon as you're self-aware, you're into the sort of Terminator cyber wars world, aren't you? And that's very, very interesting. I mean, we've used the example before of the Chinese drones, 10,000 drones in close formation yeah. Doing some phenomenal things that the humans would not be able to do. I think there are some profound implications, but how you protect it, how do you protect the society? Because there are clearly implications for society in this as well.